Hello and welcome to the first edition of Sports Talk Live, where we talk Ryder Cup, NFL news, and MLB playoffs. Stay tuned. Sports Talk Live is next. Welcome to Sports Talk Live, our first edition of this school year. And today we're going to kick it off talking about the Ryder Cup. USA just won over the action this week. And I'm going to send it over to my good friend Stefan, who's going to talk about the Ryder Cup and what happened.
Absolutely. I mean, I got the chance to watch that final round. I just loved how it was the old school versus, with the new school, PGA Tour pros, specifically the Americans. You had Phil Mickelson, who was one of my favorite players growing up, and then you had the young guns like Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, feeding off each other. There was a little bit more celebration going on. There was some intensity. The fans in Minnesota were really into it. It was just a really good atmosphere, and obviously we're probably all pretty happy that the U.S. took it over.
Yeah, one thing I found really interesting about when I researched it is that they don't get paid at all for the event. They literally, no money exchanges hands. So it's more of a fun atmosphere that they get to deal with. And that's why you saw things like Justin Rose betting $100 for a heckler to come on and make a putt. It was just really cool to see.
Oh yeah, it was a laid-back kind of foundation that they created, and to see Phil Mickelson hit that final putt, he went down on one knee, was so excited, and then we saw the championship picture. Everybody was with their girlfriend, their wives, and there's that one dude, Ricky Fowler. He was just sitting there, he's kind of like, oh, I'm single, yeah. Oh well, and it was just the atmosphere, as you talked about, was so positive and energetic, and USA, they won for the first time since 2008. Next Ryder Cup will be in 2018 in France. And for the first time since 1975, at least one U.S. player won at least one match. So everybody was contributing, even though, like you said, it's not really paid for. Everybody was doing their part. Everyone was having a great time, and that's just something you want to see out of the Ryder Cup, out of golf, because usually, we talked about earlier, golf is a little bit more of a laid-back sport. It's quieter, so when you have the opportunity to be loud, be energetic, and just outgoing, of course, anybody's going to accept that.
Absolutely, and one thing I'll add is, since the post-Tiger Woods demise from 2008 and on, I feel like, the tour specifically has been really lacking, that star power. But, over the past few years, you have, Rory from Ireland, who obviously was very impressive this weekend, showed some intensity. And then you have, like I said, Spieth, Fowler, I don't know. I think the tour is going to make somewhat of a comeback to what it was when Tiger was really taking over. But I look forward to see the future of golf, and like you said, in the next few years in France, the Ryder Cup, it's going to be real exciting, and hopefully we can retain the title.
Oh yeah,
I agree. When you talk about the young guns, there's so many young players up and coming in the PGA, and just in this Ryder Cup, they all performed well. Holes number 5 through 8. If anybody saw it, Rory McIlroy and Patrick Reed were going back and forth with all these crazy celebrations, kind of going back and forth with each other. They had 7 birdies and an eagle in 4 holes alone. So it's just crazy golf, and it happened a week after Arnold Palmer's death. So that's really good for the U.S. to bring it home for him.
All right, and to finish off the Ryder Cup talk, we're going to move on to NBA talk on the court. We're going to go to Chris Bosh and his future. After a failed physical, what does the future hold for him in the NBA?
I think he could make... He feels pretty confident he can pass the physical. I think if he thinks he's confident he can play, he'll find a way back on the court. Just because he fails this one physical doesn't mean he can't pass more in the future. So I think he'll find a way to get back on the court.
I personally think that he's not going to make his way back. He thought last year he came back and he's like, all right, I'm medically cleared by the doctors. I can come back and I'll be fine. And then it happened again, and he was gone for half the year. And it kind of ruined the Heat season in some ways because he's such a big part of that team. And now with him gone, there's no members left of the big three. With D-Wade gone to the Bulls, now Chris Bosh is gone. Hassan Whiteside is really going to have to step up his game, and I don't know what the Heat's going to do without him.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was his second failed physical. And to quote Pat Riley, he said, "Chris Bosh's Miami Heat career is over." I really hope it's not. He was a top 5 pick, and to the 2003 NBA draft, 1 year out of Georgia Tech. He's, in my opinion, very underrated. He and Dirk Nowitzki both revolutionized the power forward position, and front to the basket. He extended his range, played alongside LeBron James, and they went ahead and won 2 titles, and it'd be sad to see him go. So I really hope, even if he doesn't play any more basketball, that he can live, a long and healthy life.
Yeah, we all hope the best for Chris Bosh when it comes to the future. But now to a topic everybody wants to talk about, and it is the return of Tom Brady, the GOAT of the NFL. So what's your guys' opinion on the Patriots and Tom Brady returning? What's the impact on the NFL?
Well, I'll take this one. I'll be honest. I'm not even considering him to be rusty. I feel like the Patriots did him, a great deal by going 3-1 in the 4 games that they had to use second, third string quarterbacks. Tom Brady, I'm just not going to underestimate anymore. He's phenomenal. I've heard a few analysts worry about his 39-year-old age. If we saw Brett Favre do what he did, towards the end of his career in Minnesota, in my opinion, I just think Tom Brady is that much better, and I think he'll be fine. One of the more motivating athletes, self-motivated athletes in the world, I think, and I think he'll be just fine, and I think the Patriots are going to be fine as well.
I think it's great for the NFL and for Tom Brady. Tom Brady's coming back with a bit of edge to him because this Deflategate's been going on for 2 years. And now that he was deflated, I think he really wants to get to the Super Bowl and have Roger Goodell actually hand him the Lombardi Trophy just so he could kind of shove it in his face. But the thing is with Brady, he's closing in on the age of 40. Quarterbacks, when you get hit, it doesn't do well for the body, and especially closing in on that age, your body starts to break down, and it depends how his line plays. And I think he's going to lose his talent soon. I think he's got another year left, but once he gets to that 40 mark, I think he's going to get hurt, and it's just going to all go downhill from there.
I agree more with Stefan. I don't think he's going to be that rusty. I think he's going to come back and be fine. And even if he doesn't, he's coming back to play the 0-4 Browns, so he has some time to get back into the offense and be right back into the swing of things. But I think he'll be fine. He's coming back to a 3-1 team who didn't do bad without him.
Yeah, I don't think Tom Brady could have a better scenario returning and playing the Browns, a defense that he can, if there is any rust, which we're talking about, we don't believe there is any. If there is any rust, this is a perfect team for him to just come out, ball out. And quick tidbit for you fantasy owners out there with Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski, put them in your starting lineup because they're about to go off in these upcoming weeks with Brady. So enough of that talk. We're going to head to a UWL Sports promo, so stay tuned. More Sports Talk Live is next.
Introducing WMCM's newest sports show, Hot Shot Sports. It's got games, memes, highlights, gifts, and everything else that you'd ever want from a sports show, like everything current from social media and all other sports action. So tune in to Charter Channel 989 and Campus Channel 6 for some Hot Shot Sports.
Do you need better opinions on the biggest sports stories? Then you need Sports Talk Live. They cover all sports all the time. From track and field, to soccer, to football, gymnastics, and just about everything in between. Sports Talk Live is your place for sports. Sports Talk Live, Tuesdays on WMCM-TV.
Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk Live. Up next, we talk about the NFL. We're going to start off with the topic of surprise teams this season. As the first quarter of this season is over, I'm going to send it over to my good buddy Ryan. Who is your surprise team so far?
The biggest surprise for me is the Vikings, and that kills me as a Packers fan. But it looks like the Vikings are the top team in the NFC North, being 4-0. This is a huge surprise to me, them being without Teddy Bridgewater, with no AP, no Matt Khalil, their starting left tackle. And they've played teams like the Packers and the Panthers, so they're not playing easy teams that they would just normally run over. Most of it's due to their defense just playing incredibly, because in the first 3 games they only scored 3 offensive touchdowns. So their defense is really dominant in the first 4 games. Also, Sam Bradford getting into the swing of offense, into the swing of the offense pretty good. Most people thought he'd be pretty rusty, or it would take him some time to get used to the offense, but it looks like he's not having many problems. And Stephon Diggs is one of the top receivers in the league, and he's doing very well. So I was very surprised that they were one of the 2 teams that started 4-0.
That's the power. Mike Zimmer, Alec, who you got?
My surprise team is the Los Angeles Rams. They drafted Jared Goff as the number one overall quarterback this past year, and he hasn't even played a game yet. They have a backup in Case Keenum, who has played over the past few years and has not produced well for them. So I'm really surprised by their 3-1 record. They have Todd Gurley, who is supposed to be one of the top backs in the league after watching him play last year. Has 82 attempts for 216 yards for pitiful 2.6 yards per carry, which, when you think of a team 3-1 with not great wide receivers and a running back that is not performing well, it's just really surprising to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. 3 road wins in New Orleans versus Breeze, in Baltimore versus Flacco, then against the Titans. The young quarterback Derek Carr, 9 touchdowns to 1 interception. Their run attack looks pretty consistent with Murray, Washington. Then they have 2 great receivers in Crabtree and Amari Cooper. So I think they could win 10 or 11 games this year.
For all those teams that passed up Derek Carr, they're regretting it now. My surprise team, Dallas Cowboys. Now moving on to disappointing teams in the NFL. Who you guys got?
I had the Jaguars as a disappointing team. Most people had them pretty good, like Kyle here. After Blake Bortles coming off his close to 4,500-yard season and 35 touchdowns, and Robinson with 14 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, people thought that they would be much better than they are, especially with T.J. Yeldon and Chris Ivory, but they're really a disappointment so far at 1-3.
I have the Arizona Cardinals. Their QB is getting old. This season kind of was a win-or-go-home mentality. It kind of was last year, too, that they basically had to win it. And, yeah, their players are getting old. Palmer is just getting destroyed in the pocket. Now he's out with a concussion. He's already thrown 5 interceptions. They have a great defense. Their defense is just stacked. And the new guy they brought in from New England already has 4 sacks. So the offense just needs to step it up, but they're really a disappointment this year to me.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the Colts. Most of NFL fans were looking forward to the Colts trying to fix what was broken last year, their offensive line. I thought they went ahead and did that. Luck has a lot to prove, and they're 1-3. They're coming off the loss against the Jaguars in London. I know coming into the year, Luck had the same amount of interceptions as he did touchdowns, because he's supposed to be, the next big quarterback, and so far he really hasn't done that. He's missed more games out while injury than Kaepernick, Wilson, Andy Dalton, and Ryan Tannehill combined. So Luck has a lot of proof, and they're 1-3. And I don't know, Pagano, depending after the end of the season, might need to look for some other work, I think.
And my disappointing team of the year is the Carolina Panthers, starting off to a rugged 1-3 start. They went 15-1 last year and made it to the Super Bowl. There's a reason. A lot of people call that season a fluke, and I don't believe it, but it hurts when you let your second best defensive player in Josh Norman walk in free agency. They had the franchise tag on him, and then they decided to remove it. He was open to sign. Now he's the highest paid cornerback in the NFL with the Washington Redskins. And then that offense, they got to protect Cam Newton. Those offensive tackles, they were a problem last year. And we saw Mike Remmers get destroyed by Von Miller in the Super Bowl, and his woes have continued into 2015. With Jonathan Stewart hurt, they did nothing over the offseason to bring in a younger, more fresh running back. That's something I could see them looking forward to in the 2017 NFL draft. And then we saw Cam Newton get hit by Deion Jones. Now he's hurt. He got lit up on the goal line trying to just cruise in for an easy 2-point conversion. So it's definitely keeping him protected and just bring the defense back to what they were last year. And Ron Rivera, I won't be surprised if we see that defense come back to the way they were, but that's one thing that's got to step up for them to get back to their winning ways. Transitioning from disappointing team, we're going to talk about rookie quarterbacks. There are 2 especially that have made their name well known so far, and that's Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. What do you guys think about them? Are you buying or are you selling on them?
Carson Wentz, I'm definitely buying. He's the first quarterback to a 3-0 start in a long time for that team. They've struggled with their quarterbacks, and he's got one of the better passer ratings in the league right now. So I'm definitely getting behind Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
I am not getting behind Carson Wentz yet. They started off this season by playing the Bears and the Browns, and then the Steelers. And the Steelers are the best defensive team they play, but the Steelers are ranked like 17th, I think, overall defensively. And the Bears and Browns are just, everyone knows they have pitiful defenses. I know Carson Wentz hasn't thrown an interception yet, and he's been playing well, but I think once he starts facing top defenses, I think they're going to give him a few issues.
I'm buying Dak Prescott. No Romo, no problem. I mean, he has over 1,000 yards after 4 games, only 3 touchdowns, but hasn't thrown an interception yet. And I think he's just in a really good situation, a lot better situation than Wentz up in Philadelphia. He has the best offensive line in football, led by 2 Wisconsin offensive linemen with Wisconsin ties in Free and Frederick. He has a great running back, great rush attack, and some targets that Des Bryant needs to get healthy. Well, I just think Dak Prescott down in Dallas is in a good situation in a fairly poor division. So I think the Cowboys will be fine this year under Prescott.
Oh, yeah, I agree with Alec when it comes to not buying Carson Wentz. Granted, he has had a strong start, but Alec gave you the right stats right there. I mean, come later in the season, I don't believe Carson Wentz is going to be putting up the numbers. But looking at Stefan and what he said about Dak Prescott, I'm buying it. He was a 4th-round pick. Not many teams thought he'd transition to the NFL as smoothly as he has. And with Jason Garrett there and Tony Romo to help him out while he's injured on the sidelines, I mean, it's easy for him to just step in and take over for Romo. Now, a quick question I want to pose. If Tony Romo returns and Prescott's still winning, do you give the ball back to Romo or do you keep the rookie in?
I have a feeling that they're going to give it back to Romo. I know it's going to be tough, but that's just my personal opinion.
Romo?
Prescott keeps winning, and Romo doesn't come back till week 8, which I don't think he will even. I would keep Prescott in.
Prescott?
I think they're going to put Romo back in.
Romo back in. All right, I'm going for Prescott. And then our final topic for the NFL. Who are your early votes for MVP?
My very early vote for MVP is Big Ben Roethlisberger. I think him and Antonio Brown are going to be unstoppable this year. He's already put up 11 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards and a great passer rating. They're leading the AFC North. They've played the Bengals, the Redskins, the Chiefs, so not exactly bad teams. I think Big Ben is going to be great this year.
I have Von Miller as a defensive. I know it doesn't happen a lot. But Von Miller is out to prove something again. He got that big contract. He just came off Super Bowl MVP. He's got 5.5 sacks on the season. Against the Colts, he just destroyed him and basically got the game-winning sack and forced fumble. And he's leading a defense who is one of the top defenses, even with the loss of Malik Jackson and Danny Trevathan in the linebacking core. I think he has a chance at winning it if he keeps proving his numbers and putting up numbers every game.
Like you, Alec, I'm going to go with a very unlikely position to win it, and it's Big Ben's partner in crime, Antonio Brown. He's got 28 catches for 369 and 4 touchdowns. I think he's got some monster games ahead. Like I said, unlikely receiver is going to win it, but I think him and Big Ben got something good up in Pittsburgh, and I think he's just going to keep dominating football games. And I think he's got a shot, and it's early enough where we can make these bold predictions.
And then my MVP pick is Matt Ryan. He currently leads the NFL in passing yards, tied for passing touchdowns, and the leader in pass rating. He is having one heck of a season in Atlanta. Stay tuned. Sports Talk Live will be back after these messages. UWL Sports Promo.
Introducing WMCM's newest sports show, Hot Shot Sports. It's got games, memes, highlights, gifts, and everything else that you'd ever want from a sports show, like everything current from social media and all other sports action. So tune in to Charter Channel 989 and Campus Channel 6 for some Hot Shot Sports.
Do you need better opinions on the biggest sports stories? Then you need Sports Talk Live. They cover all sports all the time. From track and field, to soccer, to football, gymnastics, and just about everything in between. Sports Talk Live is your place for sports. Sports Talk Live, Tuesdays on WMCM-TV.
And we're back with more Sports Talk Live. Up next, we're going to be talking about MLB playoffs, as those are around the corner. First off, we got an AL wildcard matchup tonight, actually, and it's going to be the Baltimore Orioles in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Who do you guys got?
I have Toronto. Orioles have struggled away from home, so I definitely have Toronto on this one.
It's kind of a tough one. Both have huge bats. The Orioles on the season have 253 home runs, and the Jays have 221. So I personally think it's whoever's bats come alive in this game. I know they've struggled recently, but I'm going to take the O's on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alec on this one. I'm gonna take the Orioles as well. For as far as pitching matchup, it's not quite as exciting as that we're gonna see in the National League wild card. But Stroman for the Jays is 1-2 with a 7.04 ERA against the Orioles, and I think it's gonna end up coming down to pitching, and we'll have to see if Stroman's capable of keeping the Orioles bats in check. So I'm gonna go with the Orioles in this one. I think Tillman's gonna pull it out, and I think they'll advance to the ALCS.
Oh yeah, it's a fun pitching matchup with Tillman versus Stroman. I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays just because I want to see Jose Bautista hit that walk-off homer with that ridiculous bat flip. I think for entertainment's sake, that's what everybody wants to see. Also, I mean, Toronto versus Texas, that'd be a great matchup. Winner of this wild-card game does go on to Texas to face them. So with the NL, we have San Francisco Giants and New York Mets. Who you guys got?
I think the Mets are going to win. The Giants have not had the best second half to the year. Although they do have their even year good luck in their favor, I'm not a huge fan of the Giants, and I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Mets in their bullpen.
It's going to be a great pitching matchup. You have Madison Bumgarner against Noah Syndergaard, I think that's how you say it. Bumgarner is just a beast in the playoffs. Since 2004, his ERA is a 1.03 in 52 2/3 innings, which is he's unstoppable. He's hard to hit. He's always proven that he's a reliable starter in the playoffs. So I have the Giants going into Citi Field and taking the game.
I'm going to go Mets under the lights at Citi Field in New York. The New Yorkers are going to be wild. Syndergaard, great hair, great flow. I'm saying the Mets come out on top.
And winner of that game goes on to Chicago to play the Cubs in the NLDS. So since we're already in the NL playoffs, we'll talk about another team, the Dodgers and Washington. Who do you think takes that series?
I like the Nationals. I'm sorry, but that's just because I like Bryce Harper. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think the Nationals will take that one.
I think the Dodgers are going to take that. You have Clayton Kershaw coming back after his recent injury scare that they had, and even without him, they've been playing really well since the All-Star break. And the Nationals kind of went down a bit of slump in production. So I'm going to take the Dodgers in that one.
I'm going to go with you, Alec. I think Kershaw has a lot to prove. His ERA in the playoffs is nowhere near what it's been in the regular season. I think he has a lot to prove, and the Dodgers got a great team, and I think they'll be able to take care of business.
All right, so that's for the NL that we got. Switching on over to the AL, we have a series, Boston at Cleveland. That should be an interesting one. Who are you guys going to take on that one?
I think Boston's going to be the winner of that one just because, with the emotions of David Ortiz's last season, their team is doing great too. They're going to rally behind David Ortiz and their fans. I think they got the home field advantage in that one. So their fans, I think they'll pull ahead of the Indians.
I'm going to have to agree with him. I would like the Red Sox to win that. I think Indians have been a really good team since the All-Star break, but I think Boston just has too many good players to lose that matchup.
Yeah, Boston's got some great pitchers. You got Purcell who's going to start them off. Then you have David Price and Clay Buchholz. They have experience. Like you said, they're riding quite a few emotions with Ortiz and his phenomenal season, being as old as he is. And I think the Red Sox are going to take it.
That's a deep pitching staff. When you can have David Price, a $217 million man, be your number 2 in that rotation, that's huge for the Red Sox. And when you got Porcello, who came out, had a great year. He's got 20 wins on the season, which I don't think many were expecting out of him. And to just step in front of David Price, have that deep rotation, and have the bats that they do, the quality bats, mix of veterans, mix of some young guys, and then again with Big Papi, you want to see him try to go as far as possible and possibly go out on top. And with that talk, it does kind of lead us to World Series. I want to take some time on this. Who do you guys got and why? Because, I mean, this could end up being a very interesting playoffs overall. And then to take it into the World Series, like, what are we looking at?
I mean, obviously the Cubs are the favorites. They're 103 wins. Like, they're the favorites. Everybody has them as at least making the World Series, if not winning it. However, I would like to see in the American League the Rangers make it over the Red Sox. Yeah, even though David Ortiz is having his emotional year, I do like the Red Sox. I do like the Rangers, as they have the Carlos Gomez, the Jonathan Lucroy, the Prince Fielder, all former Brewers. That's probably my bias, but I would like to see them make it to the World Series.
I think it's going to be the Cubs and the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox have the hardest road. I think the Cubs are just too well put together with every position that they have. I don't think they'll have an issue getting to the World Series. But the Red Sox have a tough road going through the Rangers if they get there. Or wait, are they playing them right away, the Rangers?
Boston, they play Cleveland to start
They play
off.
Cleveland,
Yep.
all right.
They could play Texas.
So I think it's still going to be a difficult road. They're a really good hitting team, the Red Sox, and you have Big Papi going out on top. I would love to see him win that final World Series trophy.
Yeah, I'd really like to see the Cubs and the Red Sox, and I think before the show we said we all would. Two very historic teams. I would personally give the edge to the Cubs. Phenomenal pitching staff. You got 5 guys with double-digit wins. Lester leading the way with 19, Arrieta 18, not to mention Rizzo and Bryant combining for 71 homers. I mean, those are two, like, arguably the best bats, in the MLB. Edison Russell's phenomenal as well. They have so many guys who can hit it out of the park. Great pitching staff, not to mention a best closer in the game in Arnaldus Chapman. I think that they're going to pull it out, and I wouldn't be down if they played the Red Sox, because I just think it would be set up to be a really good series.
Oh, yeah, and I got Red Sox-Cubs, too, for the matchup. And the interesting thing about this is the man who's put the Cubs together and built them over these last 4 years is Theo Epstein, one of the most brilliant minds in Major League Baseball history. He took the Boston Red Sox back in 2002, and 2 years later, in 2004, he gave them their first World Series championship since 1918. And he was this god among men that was able to give the Red Sox something they haven't had in almost 90 years. And then to see him come over to Chicago, go through the same rebuild, a similar rebuild, and then able to pull it off and possibly win a World Series and this route with Chicago, and then to do it against his former team that he's already done it with, that's entertaining. I think that would really just put Theo Epstein in the history books for sure. I mean, these are two historical franchises, and to think they've had such a long stretch when it comes to not winning a World Series, like Red Sox, obviously, they have, their positives, but the Cubs, when you can lose a bat like Kyle Schwarber and not even lose any sort of momentum, that's huge for the Chicago Cubs. So that wraps up our MLB talk. To finish off the show, we're going to go through a couple of rants and things that are on our mind. So let's kick it on over to Stefan. Let's see what he has to talk about.
Yeah, I do have a rant. Rory McIlroy told The Guardian after the Ryder Cup that the gallery this weekend in Minnesota was phenomenal. The support for both the U.S. and some of the international countries was, very impressive. But on the bad side, there was some negative issues. In sports, you're always going to have those fans that go over the top. And obviously, I want to be a proud American, and I feel like we're better than that, And as far as us having, a potential World Cup soccer, which I really want eventually one day in our country, we need to show a little more support, a little more tolerance for some other countries.
Okay, for my rant, I just want to talk about the Brewers. They just finished their season. They were 73 and 89. Not the best, but not the bottom of the league either. As sad as it is, probably next year we won't have Ryan Braun. He'll probably be traded away. But I think I'm very optimistic.
My rant is about the Packers. All the fans came into the season thinking, we're going to be back to offense, explosive offense with Jordy Nelson, but the receivers still have yet to get open. Aaron Rodgers is under so much pressure. It's just a matter of time until he gets hit and something happens again. They need to start running the ball more with Eddie Lacy. He's averaging a healthy five yards a carry, which is really good for a running back, especially after his season that he just had. I think he's proving a lot of the doubters wrong this year. They just need to give him the ball more and take some pressure off Aaron Rodgers.
And my final rant is NFL officials. Come on, if you guys were watching that Redskins-Browns game, was that a fumble? No. Duke Johnson went down, came back up with the ball, and there was just a huddle on the bottom, and there was Come on, NFL, you're better than this. So thank you guys for tuning in to WMCM's first edition of Sports Talk Live. Stay tuned, 4:30, Hot Shot Sports is on. Enjoy the rest of your day.